All right, we are reading the article Wired World. A new report shows more people are online than ever before. Everyone who uses the internet, please stand up. If that message could be heard all over the world at the same time, how many people do you think would stand up? The answer is almost 2 billion, or nearly 1/3 of all human beings on the planet. That number comes from the International Telecommunication Union. Since 2005, the number of people who have access to the internet through cell phones or computer use has doubled. To have access to something is to have the ability to use it. The internet is a communication system that connects computers around the world. Countries in the lead. A growing percentage of the world's internet users access the internet not through their computers, but with their cell phones. According to ITU, there were an estimated 5.9 billion cell phone subscriptions in 2011. Mobile phone networks are now available to 90% of the world's population. The wealthier nations of the world have the most people using the internet. Poorer nations have the fewest internet users. The biggest difference in internet use between the richest nations and the poorest nations is called the global digital divide. However, the digital divide is getting smaller. Of the 226 million new internet users added in 2010, most, 162 million, came from the world's poorer countries. Who are the digital leaders? Sweden comes in at number 1. The country is followed by Luxembourg, South Korea, Denmark, the Netherlands, Iceland, Switzerland, and Japan. The United States comes in at 19. KidSurf. How has this rapid or quick growth in the internet use affected young people around the world? Toshi Takahashi, a professor who specializes in how young people relate to the internet, spoke to WR News. Kids can communicate with each other using the internet. National boundaries are no barrier. A barrier is something that blocks something else. Takahashi says there are some kids who have mixed feelings about the internet. It is good in that they can easily make friends, play games, and do other things with kids even on the other side of the globe. But the internet can be harmful, they say, because it leaves them open to cyberbullying and other harmful things. In general, though, for kids, the internet has shrunk the world. It does not seem like such a big place anymore. Takahashi thinks that increasing internet use has led to a better understanding between young people worldwide. Kids all over the world love American pop music and pop culture, she says, and an increasing number of American kids are learning about pop culture in other countries. I interviewed a U.S. teen who is fascinated with Japanese animation, for instance. To be fascinated is to be excited about something or someone. Takahashi says that, especially in Asia, more kids use cell phones to access the internet than computers. In China, for instance, they don't have a lot of public access to the internet, but they have a huge number of cell phones capable of downloading a lot of data quickly. In Japan, students research and write papers using their cell phones alone. Who invented the internet? U.S. Department of Defense members were the first world's webmasters. The department created the Advanced Research Project Agency Network, ARPANET. That was a network of university and U.S. military computers. ARPANET machines could share information and talk to one another. By 1981, approximately 200 computers were on the network. After the World Wide Web was created in 1991, ARPANET and other networks joined to form what we now know today as the Internet. America Online. Ever wonder how the Internet works? Browse through the timeline to learn through some major moments in Internet's history. So this timeline says that in 1969, the United States Department of Defense created ARPANET, and its members of the militaries communicate with one another. In 1971, You Got Mail computer whiz Ray Tomlinson created the first system to send a message between users connected to the ARPANET. 1991, British scientist Tim Berners-Lee created the World Wide Web. It allows users to create and visit websites that can contain pictures, videos, and sounds. 1995, there are 18,000 websites on the internet. 1998, the Google search engine is founded. 2009, there are more than 215 million websites on the internet. Sorry, that was a little difficult to read. I read it as best as I could. Question number 1. According to the text, which of the following countries comes first on the list of digital leaders? A. South Korea, B. Luxembourg, C. United States, D. Sweden. Number 2. What does the text describe? A. How the internet works on cell phones. B. Companies that provide access to the internet. C. Internet use around the world. D. How people can protect themselves on the internet. Question 3. The internet can have negative impacts on kids. What does Professor Takahashi say that supports this conclusion? A. In general, though, for kids, the internet has shrunk the world. It does not seem like such a big place anymore. B. But the internet can be harmful, they say, because it leaves them open to cyberbullying and other harmful things. C. An increasing number of American kids are learning about pop culture in other countries. D. It is good in that they can easily make friends, play games, and do other things with kids, even on the other side of the globe. Question 4. Read these sentences from the text. A growing percentage of the world's internet users access the internet not through their computers, but with their cell phones. The wealthier nations of the world have the most people using the internet. Poorer nations have the fewest internet users. The biggest difference in internet use between the richest nations and the poorest nations is called the global digital divide. However, the digital divide is getting smaller. Based on the text, how is the internet accessed in different countries? A. People in wealthier nations access the internet through their computers, but people in poorer nations access the internet through their cell phones. B. People in wealthier nations access the internet through their cell phones, but people in poorer nations access the internet through their computers. C. More and more people in both wealthier and poorer nations access the internet through their computers. D. More and more people in wealthier nations and poorer nations access the internet through their cell phones. Question 5. What is the main idea of this text? A. The internet can be accessed from anywhere in the world. B. The global digital divide is getting smaller. C. The internet is used by many people around the world. D. The internet was originally ARPANET and other networks. Question 6. Read these sentences from the text. Kids can communicate with each other using the internet. National boundaries are no barrier. As used in the text, what does the word communicate mean? A. See, B. Travel, C. Talk, D. Ignore. Question 7. Choose the answer that best completes the sentence. Students in Asia use their cell phones to research and write papers. There isn't a lot of public access to the internet in those countries. A. After, B. But, C. Because, D. So. Question 8. According to the text, what is the global digital divide?